Hey, I'm sure everyone watching has already been to the Committee for Responsible Federal Budget's website and looked through their 2022 year-end charts. Oh wait, you haven't been there? Of course, why would you? You've got better things to do. But there are some disturbing findings that could impact your retirement. What do the charts show? And what can you do for your planning to save your retirement before it's too late? That's what we're going to talk about next. Hey, this is Mel Stubbs. I'm a financial planner at Christy Capital Management, where we're trying to bring good retirement information so that you can retire more confident. If you need help for retirement, please click right up here. The first chart I want to show you is the 2022 deficit totaling $1.4 trillion. Now, granted, that is down from the $2.8 trillion from the previous year. You can definitely see a change starting in 2020 and after, where the deficit is just way higher than it's ever been before. Now, the deficit that high when interest rates are super low, which means the government pays back super cheap interest rates, has not been a huge deal. But as you're seeing in the market, interest rates are going up, which means the government's going to have to pay this money back at higher rates. How might that affect your retirement? Well, taxes may need to increase to be able to pay for all that spending. There's been a deficit problem, as you can see, way back from 2002. Definitely some years in there which much higher than others, but the last several years have been super high. Now, the second chart shows the significantly rising debt. This is a percentage of GDP. So the Congressional Budget Office releases their 10-year baseline, but the Committee for Responsible Federal Budget, they kind of updated the projections on their own, and according to them, the debt will reach 116% of GDP in 2032. They've also produced an intermediate and a high-cost alternative. These are not good numbers. Here again, as a result, taxes may have to go up to pay for this. Now, on the next chart, we're talking about interest spending. All of this extra debt having to be paid back at higher and higher interest rates can be a problem. You can see that the previous record was 3.2%. The baseline number is going to be higher, and then at 3.4, the intermediate alternative, and then the high-cost alternative out into the future is much higher. It's also a signal of increased taxes. So the next slide is about Social Security and how it's only 13 years from insolvency. According to the Social Security trustees, the Social Security Old Age and Survivors Insurance Trust Fund will deplete its reserves by 2034, and at that point, benefits will immediately be reduced by 20 to 23%. Of course, this is assuming they don't make any adjustments, but it does sound like both parties don't want to make any adjustments. Now, will Social Security always be there in some form? In my personal opinion, yes. But will it pay out the same dollar amounts that we're expecting it to pay out? Well, the chart is saying that no, it's not going to at the current projection levels. So that may affect your retirement planning. The next chart shows inflation. We're all aware that inflation is really high right now. Neither of these two, CPI monthly or PCE monthly, have been this high since 1982 and 1983 respectively. The Federal Reserve typically wants inflation to be targeted around 2%, and the PCE inflation, which would be around 2.3%. You can see it's much higher than that. For inflation to come down, the Federal Reserve usually raises interest rate, and that typically, over time, reduces inflation. But it all means the federal government is going to be paying back its debt at much higher interest rate. Also, keep in mind that inflation, by definition, is not increased prices. It's not that prices of everything are going up. It's that the money is worth less. The money is being devalued. Whenever the government prints all this money to send out into the economy, they are devaluing the money. Inflation means inflate. It's an inflated money supply. Now, a super skeptic person might say that they're devaluing the money because they're going to have to pay back all of that debt, and they want to be able to pay it back with less valuable money. But the fact that inflation is still high for retirement planning is not helpful. It means all the assets you have saved are not worth as much as you thought. Now, the last chart shows how much has President Biden added to the deficit. The net effect is $4.8 trillion increased budget deficit between 2021 and 2031. And it goes through the different things that he's done to increase the deficit, and then the one thing he did to help decrease the deficit. At some point, all of the spending has to get paid back, and the most obvious way to pay it back is increased taxes. So how do these charts relate to your retirement? To me, this makes tax planning a main issue in retirement planning. If you have all of your retirement money in traditional money, like traditional TSP or traditional IRA, that means that they are all subject to taxation. All of these charts are saying that there's potential for increased taxes in the future. That means all the traditional money will be subject to those potential increased taxes. If you share this belief that taxes have a good chance of going up, then that means Roth planning should be important to you. Paying the taxes now, if you deem that right now is lower, and moving the money to Roth is better than waiting for later when you think taxes will be higher. If that makes sense to you, then Roth converting and Roth contributions are more important now than ever. If you're a federal employee and you have access to Roth TSP inside the TSP, are you using it? If you're still working, married, filing jointly, and your income is less than $218,000 a year, you are eligible to do Roth IRA. Depending on your age, you can do $6,500 a year for under 50, and you can do $7,500 a year if you're over 50. Are you using it? If you're 59 and a half and over, or if you've retired, whichever, you can do Roth conversions. You need to get the money out of the TSP to an IRA, and then you can do these Roth conversions. We help people with this all the time. If you need help with this type of stuff, go to ChristyCapital.com, click Talk to an Advisor. If you think it's too late to do Roth because you haven't even started, check out this video right here. Is it too late to start Roth TSP? If these charts turn out to be true, then it's never too late to start doing Roth and getting your money to Roth. Hey, I'm Mel Stubbs. Talk to you next time.